What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. So Bob Arum of Top Rank, he did some recent interviews. Link in the description. He did it with ringtv.com. Again, the link in the description in case you want to read the full article. And basically what the article suggests is Bob Arum, after talking to Ring TV, he has a meeting with Showtime execs. So I'm guessing Steven Espinoza of Showtime, to possibly get some of his fighters, Tim Bradley, Terrence Crawford, Vasyl Lomachenko, I guess the whole lot of fighters onto the Showtime network. So they're going to meet up and discuss the parameters, which is crazy, right? And here's a direct quote from Mr. Bob Arum. "We have a meeting to discuss Lomachenko with Showtime. As far as HBO is concerned, they could do his next fight, but they got no money. It's not only Lomachenko, it's Tim Bradley, it's Terrence Crawford. We're going to bring up all of our fighters. Lomachenko, Crawford, and Bradley all want to fight before this year is up." And he also goes on to say, "Al Haymon has a whole group of terrific fighters, welterweights that we can match with Bradley. It's a huge fight. GARCIA, Danny Garcia, Keith Thurman, Sean Porter are options. And Crawford, look at all the great fights that we could make with Crawford," right? Again, for more, check the link in the description. And this is mighty funny to me because I make videos and people kick and scream. They say, "Oh, you don't know what you're talking about. HBO will be just fine." Things like that. And I made this video, as you guys see on screen, 5 months ago. The reality behind HBO boxing budget cuts, the PBC effect, right? You can click on the video, you can listen to the video and everything. And this is the thing, nobody that I seen was really talking about it. This is March 29th that I made this video, and not many people were talking. I didn't see anybody. You tell me and put the link in the description of a YouTube video who's talking about HBO boxing and their budget cuts before March 29th of this year. Anyway, the thing is, I got flack in that video. Some people disagreed and said, "Oh, you don't know, HBO is fine, PBC ain't doing shit," and things like that. And as time goes, we see more and more problems may be arising with HBO sports, HBO boxing. I did a video 3 weeks ago, HBO boxing budget cuts, fallout of Lomachenko fights, no Pacquiao Vargas, pay-per-view mania, hashtag new media. And then 3 weeks ago, I did another video, Showtime Boxing / PBC crushing HBO boxing. Free and premium fights, no pay-per-view, right? And the reason I'm talking about it, it's not about playing sides. I don't care. I have HBO and I actually have Showtime. But as a consumer, HBO has been dropping the ball this year when it comes to boxing. I don't watch anything else on HBO. In terms of movies, like if it's a regular movie, if it's something I really want, I've seen it in the theater, or I Redbox it, or I buy the actual Blu-ray, right? So I don't really care about when they get regular movies on TV. As far as original programming, I used to watch like True Blood back in the day, The Sopranos, The Wire, but that's about it. I haven't watched any current shows on HBO. The sole reason I have HBO is for boxing. That's the only reason, right? There's nothing else that me personally right now that I watch. Like I said, back in the day, I used to watch like True Blood and The Wire and these other shows, but that's it. Boardwalk Empire, I don't watch that, right? And I haven't been caught up with Game of Thrones. Someone told me to check it out, but I never checked it out, so I don't even watch that. So the point being, as a consumer, HBO is not doing a good job answering Showtime and the PBC side. And I made videos about it when HBO was killing and Showtime wasn't. I made that video as well, right? And this is getting crazy because there's only so long that you can deny it. You still have people who are claiming that HBO is beating Showtime and PBC, and like it's like they're desperately trying to cling on. Like what have we seen? Francisco Vargas and Orlando Salido? Lomachenko and Rocky Martinez? You know what I mean? What else have we really watched on regular HBO? And this is the thing, if you have an HBO subscription, all these other pay-per-views, that doesn't matter. If you have the HBO subscription, you might as well cancel your subscription, because Canelo Smith, or all those fights are pay-per-view fights. You know what I'm saying? The only one we're getting is Triple G Brook, right? And that's because it's happening over in the UK, and then, you know what I mean, HBO's able to air it. But majority of it, Ward Kovalev, Crawford Postal, these are all pay-per-view fights where even if you have a HBO regular monthly subscription, you would still have to pay for those because those are part of the budget cuts, right? And I tried telling people when I made that video 5 months ago, almost half a year ago, about these HBO budget cuts, and it's just not looking good. There's a reason for it, like for this, and I think the free TV and PBC has put a dent. And it's funny because you got a lot of detractors who say PBC is the cancer of boxing, it's going broke and stuff like that. But do the math. Who looks like they're going broke, and who doesn't have money? Who's putting everything on pay-per-view? You look at HBO, and I told you, and I made the suggestion before, if they're going through these immense budget cuts, all these extra shows like the Fight Game, I don't watch it, and I know a ton of other boxing fans that don't watch it. Michelle Beadle and Jim Lampley, like, I mean, cut that and get some of these damn fights on there. You know what I mean? I don't care about the Fight Game, right? They've already cut back, and they don't really do face-offs on every fight, 24/7s on every fight. Get rid of Harold Landerin, his corner, or whatever that show is where he's in the bar, if you have to. Like, I'm not, if these guys, if they had the budget for it, then keep everything. That's cool. But if you're going through budget cuts, we want to see fights. That's what HBO was known for, HBO boxing. You know what I mean? Boxing after dark. And we're not really getting that. And look at other fights. I could think of 2 high-profile fights that have come to standstills and been very hard to make for HBO. And that's currently Curtis Stevens versus David Lemieux. What's taking so long? David Lemieux wants to fight, according to his team. Curtis Stevens, he called him a pussy or something on Instagram, and he said he wants to fight, sign the contract. But from what I hear, it's a standstill based on HBO. They're trying to determine if they want to pick this up, right? So that's a great fight. I don't even understand what's there to debate. I mean, are you that tapped? Like, I don't know. It has to be something like streaming on YouTube and charge people or something. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what people would do, but I thought that was a good fight. You know what I mean? It's not the most meaningful, but it'll definitely do ratings, I think. You know what I mean? 2 guys with cracks, with names, who both fought Golovkin. You know what I'm saying? Or look at Vasyl Lomachenko versus Nicholas Walters. That fight did not get made because I don't want to hear about no side bet. These fighters risk their lives in the ring. You know what I mean? Nobody's worried about no damn side bet. Like, that's some UFC shit. Like, oh, you get 500,000 and you get a 60,000 win bonus, or 100,000 if you win. No, people want, in boxing, you want your cut no matter what, because you always have to fight and battle the judges in boxing and stuff like that. I can name at least 10 fights off the top of my dome where it was super controversial and the winner who was awarded the win probably shouldn't have won. You know what I'm saying? So nobody's trying to do no side bet, especially with a guy like Lomachenko, who's clearly an HBO darling. He already has a loss, so if it's a close fight, they probably wouldn't give it to Walters, just like the Sosa fight. You know what I mean? They said it was a draw, and Nicholas Walters clearly won. So you look at it, Curtis Stevens, David Lemieux, Walters, and Lomachenko, these are all excellent fights for the HBO network. They're not pay-per-view fights, but they're excellent. I think they would do good ratings. They're good fights. Lomachenko versus Walters is a meaningful fight versus Stevens versus Lemieux. I mean, it kind of shapes the division, but both those guys lost to Triple G, so we know they're not the number 1 in the division, right? But it's still a great fight with action, and they can't put together the money and the budget to satisfy both parties and get the fight on the network. So I don't know. It's not looking good, because if Bob Arum, who, in my opinion, aside from Al Haymon, he has the next best stable. Like, if you look at K2, you look at Golden Boy, Arum has the deepest stable of talent. You know what I mean? He got guys like Oscar Valdez, Felix Verdejo, Terrence Crawford. He has Nicholas Walters, Vasyl Lomachenko. You know what I mean? He has some pretty good names that he can build for the future. You know what I mean? Pacquiao. He has Bradley. You know what I mean? Who does Top Rank have? I mean, Golden Boy, Canelo, David Lemieux. You know what I mean? They don't have as many people. Mauricio Herrera, Jesus Soto Caras. You know what I'm saying? They don't have that Matisse, who might retire. We haven't heard nothing from him. So that's my point. They're great fights, and if Arum takes his he behind Haymon, Bob Arum has the next best stable as far as a promoter who's been in the industry in terms of the second deepest stable. I can't think of anybody who has a deeper stable than Haymon. But aside from Haymon, if we're excluding him, I can't think of anyone who has a deeper stable than Bob Arum, who has the number 2 spot with all those people I just named, and that's just a few of them. You know what I mean? He has other people other than that. So if those two join forces, they already squashed the beef with the lawsuit. Arum said he's willing to work together. He also has Jesse Vargas. Imagine Jesse Vargas with any of them, Adrian Broner and Vargas. You know what I mean? Win or lose to Pacquiao, that's a fight that could be made. Jesse Vargas, Danny Garcia. I mean, that's crazy to me. If he meets up with Showtime and they offer him a good offer, that's going to be a huge blow to HBO. Mark my words. Tim Bradley, the only person that's beat him is Pacquiao twice, right? Bradley versus Amir Khan. Bradley versus Adrian Broner. Bradley versus Danny Garcia. I mean, Bradley versus Keith Thurman. Who wouldn't want to see Bradley Errol Spence Jr.? Who wouldn't want to see any of these fights? Terrence Crawford. I don't know when he's going to move up, but I mean, I would like to see, even if you, let's say Terrence Crawford is coming off a tough fight with Victor Postal. Al Haymon has guys like Omar Figueroa. Crawford versus Omar Figueroa, just as a stay busy type fight, just to get another fight in this year. You know what I'm saying? There's a ton of options on the Haymon side. Josesito Lopez and Terrence Crawford or something if he's moving up. You know what I mean? There's a ton of guys. Eventually, if they build a Crawford Broner, that would be sensational. So if Arum ends up taking his fighters, those fighters like Lomachenko, Bradley's, and everybody he listed over there to Showtime, oh my gosh, that's not going to be a good look for HBO at all, because they're going to have to rely on Golovkin, Lemieux, and people like that. And this has happened before. Pacquiao, if I'm not mistaken, Pacquiao versus Shane Mosley was on Showtime. It was pay-per-view, but he still worked with Showtime. You know what I mean? And Bob Arum, again, has the second biggest stable out of all the big promoters, other than Al Haymon. So if they join forces, it's going to be real bad, because I don't see De La Hoya and Golden Boy as having that big of a stable with all these intriguing fights. So I don't know what will happen if HBO Boxing loses the talent pool like Lomachenko. You know what I mean? Lomachenko, Gary Russell Jr. rematch or whatever, if they're both on Showtime. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. There's tons of options if Haymon and Bob Arum start working together. So you guys let me know what you think. I just think if all goes well with the Bob Arum Showtime meeting, and they work and they can get fighters like Bradley on Showtime or its affiliates like CBS. Can you imagine Bradley versus Khan on free TV? That's a fight I always want to see. Even though Khan got knocked out, I would still like to see that. Bradley versus Danny Garcia, Keith Thurman on PBC. Oh my gosh. So it's certainly possible, and I think that'll be a huge blow to the other side. So you guys got to just keep in tune with these trends. I try to tell you guys believe what you want. People said PBC was dying and they were losing breath and all this stuff. 5 months ago, I told you what it was with the HBO boxing cuts. Again, if you got to cut the budgets, cut the fight game and stuff like that, nobody really cares about stuff. You already cut Face Off. If you ask 10 boxing fans, I guarantee you at least 8 or 9 of them out of those 10 would rather see an HBO Face Off or HBO 24/7 other than the fight game with Jim Lampley. I mean, I don't know anyone. It would probably be 10 out of 10 people. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section, but if you had a choice to watch a mega fight and watch a face-off, if they said, hey, we're running out of budget, we can either do a face-off 24/7 or the fight game, people would either pick 24/7 or face-off, period. You know what I mean? So we'll see what happens. I'll keep you guys updated and let you know if there's any big news about Arum taking his talent. It's like LeBron James when he left Cleveland the first time and went to Miami Heat. That was a huge loss to the Cavaliers. They needed a star like LeBron, like Bronny. You know what I'm saying? I'm taking my talents to South Beach. So if Arum takes his talents, Crawford, Bradley, Lomachenko, and he takes him over to Showtime, I don't know what HBO is going to do to respond. Because, again, Showtime has a ton of people. John Molina. You could put John Molina in some of those fights with you know what I mean, like Terrence Crawford and John Molina, or Terrence Crawford and Ruslan Provodnikov or whatever, because he went over to Showtime. And it's certainly a possibility, because I think Arum is trying to stay. He's a smart businessman. I met the guy. He seems pretty smart. He's been in the industry since Muhammad Ali days, and he's not trying to fold. He doesn't want his company to fold. So I think he's in tune with keeping up with the times and stuff like that, and he knows how to follow trends. And Al Haymon's killing with this free TV, and he's getting backers and money, and is doing ratings and stuff like that. So Bob Arum is no dummy. So it's, before you notice this, Bob Arum he sounded very anti working with Al Haymon. But then in recent memory, as Al Haymon's growing and doing Thurman and Porters and Leo Santa Cruz and Carl Frampton fights and doing $6 million with Errol Spence Jr., in recent memory, in recent months, now all of a sudden Arum's like sounds more willing to work with Al Haymon, because I think he's smart, and smart businessmen know when to fold and when they gotta join forces and stuff like that. Plus HBO, I think he feels slighted that they didn't pick up the fight with Pacquiao and Jesse Vargas after 10 years of dedicated service, and he feels like they used him and his fighter Pacquiao, did the numbers while they had him, and then like as soon as they got Ward and Kovalev and budget cuts, then they kicked him to the curb. Like, here, you figure it out. You figure how you're gonna air out Pacquiao versus Vargas. So I think this is very real, that Arum is looking at other options, exploring other options. Maybe he stays, you know what I mean? Maybe HBO will come to the table with the offer, and he keeps Bradley and Lomachenko and Terrence Crawford and them on. But he just said in that interview on Ring TV, again, link in the description, he said HBO has no budget. So as a businessman, sometimes you go where the money's at. And if Showtime can put together something that can appease him, his brand, his imprint, his fighters, you may see a shift. Let me know what you guys think, what this means for boxing, if Bob Arum brings those three talents. And I mean, realistically, if he's bringing those top level names, I think it would be a matter of time before Oscar Valdez and Felix Verdejo and all these other guys start coming over too. That's just my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think this means if Bob Arum does go to Showtime and starts working with Al Haymon. He definitely sounds optimistic with Al Haymon's stable, that he's kind of down to the wire if you think about it. Juan Manuel Marquez, I heard that he left his training camp and a retirement might be imminent. So that's another person he lost. You know what I mean? Pacquiao's getting to the end of his career, and he's also at a point where politics is his number one mission. So, you know what I mean? It's getting, if no Pacquiao, what are you gonna do? You know what I'm saying? And Arum said Pacquiao might fight 2 or 3 times next year or something like that. So Pacquiao, Danny Garcia, you might as well start getting it cracking now. You know what I mean? Pacquiao, Broner, start working with the network and jumping ship. Let me know what you think. Drop it in the comment section. Make sure you like my video as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video, it's Ego signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.